What's up, guys? Back here with the next video in my CD collection. We're gonna be talking about like the hair metal and glam and like maybe AOR kind of stuff. Basically anything in that ilk, usually in the 80s, some of it's early 90s, but you know, you get what I'm talking about, basically. So I am going to be listening to Swallowed in Black by Sadist in the background, dude. Absolute classic kind of techie death thrash record. Really great, man. All the early Sadist stuff is worth owning. I don't have all of them. It's actually the only CD that I have by them currently. I'll get more of them later. Really great. No beer. I just got off work and I have a gig to play, so I'll have some beers later. All right, we're gonna start in the C section here. Anyway, Night Songs by Cinderella. This band gets a lot of crap because, I don't know, they look pretty wimpy, but they're a lot less lame looking than some other bands like Poison. This is actually quite a bit heavier as well. It really sits a little bit more firmly in like actual metal compared to some of the other bands in the genre. It's catchy though. Stuff like Shake Me is great, and In From the Outside, Once Around the Ride, Nothing for Nothing. You know, I mean, you guys have heard this record. Come on now. I have two from Danger. This is more of the AOR side. I have the self-titled and Screw It, which are hilarious album covers. In specific, that is an album cover. Now you're freaking talking. This one's pretty cool too. It looks like an old movie poster. But yeah, this band's pretty corny. They definitely I feel like they're associate to this genre, but they're more of an AOR band than anything. I mostly put them here for the mental classification of them. But they do seem to have a bit of like the glam tendency to them. I don't know. It's corny, they're fun, and that's kind of what I like the genre for. It's corny and fun. But this next record is actually not a glam or hair metal record at all. But the later stuff kind of mentally is put in this area, which is Def Leppard, On Through the Night. This is an amazing new wave of British heavy metal debut. I absolutely adore this album. It is so good. If you guys haven't listened to this Def Leppard album because you've heard stuff like Hysteria and other albums like that, and you haven't listened to this because you don't like those, 100% check your baggage at the door, dude. This is an amazing new wave of British heavy metal album. All in all, great stuff, dude. Seriously. Now, I do have some of the crappy Def Leppard stuff, too. More of a pejorative term, but you get what I mean. This Pyromania, everybody knows this. It's got all the hits on it. It's still sealed. I haven't listened to it because I frankly am never in the mood for it, and you kind of know a good handful of these songs just from, like, existing in a grocery store for more than 10 years. And then I have Hysteria, which is whatever. I'm not big on this album, really. Couple songs are pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know a ton about it. I don't listen to this band very much. I mostly just have them for when I hopefully eventually will choose to like them. We'll see. Then I have Tooth and Nail by Dokken. I've spent a little time with this. I don't listen to the genre all the time. I do like it. I tend to particularly gravitate towards a couple of bands, which I'll mention when we start getting through here. But yeah, this is it's cool. It feels like I don't know. This band's got a good taste to them. You know, they're pretty metalish, but they're also pretty Van Halen-ish. They kind of toe the line between AOR and like hair metal pretty well as well. But I would probably put them a little bit more towards the somewhere smack dab in the middle, honestly. Decent record enough. Again, Europe, The Final Countdown, not really properly in the hair and glam section, but kind of associated. You get my point. A little bit more on the AOR, really corny, big keyboards. They're actually a pretty good band. And if you get past The Final Countdown, the rest of this album is actually pretty cool. It's something I really enjoy with the crazy keyboards, man. I think it's a great addition to them. They get a really good effect with it. Just all around good stuff. Not amazing or anything, but I do like them. Again, Twice Shy, Once Bit Twice Shy by Great White. Definitely more on the rock side of things. They tend to lean a little bit more into the hard rock side of things than they do the kind of glam and hair metal. But this is a great record, man. All around, this is a really awesome album. The title track of this album is one of the catchiest songs you could really ever hear. But in totality, I guess I shouldn't say it's that great of an album, because nothing else really hits quite like the quite like the title track, but you know, bright white. I have a bunch from Guns N' Roses, which I have a sealed copy of Appetite for Destruction because I don't listen to this stuff like ever. Also, I've heard this stuff so many times, it's unreal. I know this album pretty well previously, just from being younger and listening to it. Probably my favorite song in here is Mr. Brownstone, maybe. Night Train's a really great song. Probably one of those two. Rocket Queen's cool. I like the heavier songs on the GNR records. Then Use Your Illusion 1. Another great one, Dust and Bones, is cool on here. Don't Cry is a really good song, actually. The Garden. Yeah, there's some decent tunes on here. Nothing, I don't know, man. I don't have a taste for Guns N' Roses quite like I used to. Use Your Illusion 2. Civil War is a cool song. Knocking on Heaven's Door is, overplayed. But it is a Bob Dylan song, which is cool because I am a pretty big Dylan fan. But nonetheless, it's okay. I don't have a ton of Guns N' Roses, I guess, which makes sense because I wouldn't really buy it. Two really, really great albums. These are a little bit more firmly planted in the AOR side of things, but they are two albums from Helix. This is Walking the Razor's Edge and Long Way to Heaven. If you guys aren't familiar with Helix, they're like the Canadian answer to like 80s AC/DC with a little bit more of an anthem style to them. They're really, really fun, especially this album in particular, Walking the Razor's Edge. I like. First thing I ever heard from them was Rock You. I heard it. I don't even remember where I heard it. But I definitely was made privy to this band watching Chromium Dioxide's channel. Really good stuff. Fun. Not something I listen to a lot of. That's pretty much the whole video here. LA Guns, self-titled. This band really rides into that bluesy side of the kind of hair scene. They're not necessarily even part of that scene in my mind. I mean, I guess they kind of definitely are, but they're a little late. I mean, 1988. It's pretty good stuff, man. This one really, it is very, very bluesy and kind of croonery with the vocals, I guess you could say. A couple Mötley Crüe albums. I do like this band quite a bit. Too Fast for Love is probably my favorite album from the title track. It gets stuck in my head quite a bit. Merry-Go-Round is cool. Yeah, those are probably the two best tunes on here. This is a little bit, it's a little sloppy, but I kind of like that about it at the same time. And then Theater of Pain, which is like one of the more iconic albums from them. I think they have like 3 really iconic albums. Really, really iconic. But this is a great one. Smoking in the Boys Room, everybody knows that one. Use It or Lose It is cool. Raise Your Hands to Rock, Fight for Your Rights, whatever. It's Mötley Crüe. Then I have like a weird edition of Girls, Girls, Girls. It's like a 30-year special edition that's kind of an absolute pain to get out of the sleeve. Let's see, here we are. There's the proper cover. Everybody knows this one too as well. Sleazy dirtbag nonsense as usual. The title track is something everybody knows. Something for Nothing is a cool tune as well. Their version of Jailhouse Rock by Elvis is kind of interesting. They have a really snot-nosed kind of street rock style to them that I like. And Dr. Feelgood as well. Really great title track. Rattlesnake Shake is cool. She's Got You. The Same Old Situation is really, really cool. That's a really, really catchy song. That might be one of my favorite Crüe songs. I don't know. Then another band that's kind of in the AOR side of things. This is Mr. Big, which is Lean Into It. This might be misplaced in genre classification, but I don't know. I kind of think of this band as in the AOR, maybe style more than anything. But it's a decent record. The bass player on here is absolutely amazing. I forgot the dude's name. But he has a very, very interesting style. He does a lot of tapping. He has like scooped frets on his fretboard. It's a very cool album. Not something I listen to a lot of, though. Next, some Night Ranger with Dawn Patrol. Cool band, man. Definitely a little bit more on the AOR side as well. But this kind of 80s rock goes somewhat hand in hand with the hair metal style to me. I feel like there's a lot of crossover between the genres. Yeah, cool, kind of like dirty dirtbag kind of Trans Am rock. Then some Poison. I actually like Poison quite a bit. Flesh and Blood. These are probably out of order. Yes, they're definitely out of order. Hang on. Stupid me. I have them backwards, I think. Yes, I do. All right. Look what the cat dragged in. Excuse me. Classic album. I mean, Man, dude, Blame It On You. The song Talk Dirty to Me is something that gets stuck in my head a lot. Terrible band photo. Yeah, you know, it's Poison. Then classic, Open Up and Say probably their best record. Nothing But a Good Time's on here. Everybody knows that song. Look What You Can't Touch. Every Rose Has Its Thorns. Also, everybody knows that. Your Mama Don't Dance was a really cool song as well. I feel like that was kind of like a somewhat of a hit, but it is a cover. Really, really cool tune. And then, yeah, like I said earlier, Flesh and Blood. I don't spend as much time with this one. It's pretty good, but it's not as good as those first two, I don't think. But, you know, it's cool. Ball and Chain's a good tune. I'm skinny, bop, bop, bop. You know, stuff like that, whatever. Anyway, Quiet Riot, Metal Health. Another one that kind of toes the line between a little bit more of a heavier metal style and the kind of glammy hair style. Really, really great album, though. I mean, Randy Rhoads is on here. Or, sorry, Randy Rhoads was in this band before this album, I think. Yes, he was not on this album. But it's a classic album. Everybody knows this one. From the, you know, Come On Feel the Noise. But Battle Axe is cool. Let's Go Crazy. Slick Black Cadillac, man. This is some greasy stuff right there. Now this right here is one of the bands I tend to listen to a little bit more of, which is also out of order for whatever reason. But yeah, Out of the Cellar by Ratt. I don't have the debut EP or whatever, because it's kind of expensive. I've tried to buy a copy of the LP, but people want way too much for it, and I just really can't pull the trigger on it for how not often I listen to this. But songs like Round and Round is like their big hits, you know, the stuff that really puts them on the map. I'm Insane, Back for More, Lack of Communication, you know, catchy stuff. This band is definitely a little bit on the heavier side of the spectrum than their next album, which is Invasion of Privacy. Another great record. And it just kind of continues in that Out of the Cellar style, maybe a little bit more of a sleek production. And then this one, which is Reach for the Sky, which I've probably only listened to this once. Really just not something that has captivated me quite like the earlier Ratt material. But it's pretty cool nonetheless. I got to see the singer of Ratt open for Ace Frehley once. I forgot the guy's name. But it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Then a couple from Skid Row. Again, late to the game kind of band. But I do kind of firmly plant them in this like hair era. But again, a much heavier band comparatively. Sweet Little Sister, you know, stuff like that. Piece of Me. Youth Gone Wild, Making a Mess. You guys know this stuff. Come on now. Then I have this self-titled EP, which is them doing like a Kiss song. They do Come On and Love Me, and then they do Psychotherapy, which is a Ramones tune. Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix. And I don't remember who does Delivering the Goods and What You're Doing, but it's mostly covers, I think. Oh, here we are. Yeah. A couple of these might be original songs. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. Oh yeah, Delivering the Goods is a friggin' stupid. It's a Judas Priest song. But yeah, it's a cover album of Skid Row material. Next, this is something I have had for a long time, which is Stick It To You by Slaughter. This is a great album. A lot heavier in this genre, this style. But stuff like Burnin' Bridges is something that I haven't listened to this album in forever, and I could still like remember Burning Bridges. It's a really good, catchy song, heavier, kind of a bit more anthemic. Just a great all-around record, man. This Slaughter album's good. Definitely check it out if you guys haven't. Then I have Feel the Steel by Steel Panther. This is just goofy, man. It's like a spoof band. They're just like a comic strip caricature version of like hair metal guys. Really, really hilarious. It's basically like the Wheeler Walker Jr. of hair metal. Just goofy, kind of heavy, really good and shreddy. You know, solos and stuff. Next, Stay Hungry by Twisted Sister. Just a classic album in 80s metal. I mean, definitely a heavier band in this style. Apparently I have a broken jewel case on this one. But stuff like We're Not Gonna Take It and I Wanna Rock, or like stuff people all know. But like Captain Howdy, Street Justice, which is Horror-teria. It's just a heavy album, man. It's good. It's a good record. Next, Warrant with Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich, which is a mouthful of an album name. I don't have all of the Warrant that probably one would want from this band, but this is a decent enough album. It's not something that I go to very often, but I do have it. I've had it for a while. I think the album cover is really funny. If you really get a look at it, I don't know, I'm sure some of you guys have this record. Next, the only W.A.S.P that I have, which is Inside the Electric Circus, which is kind of a disservice in my mind. I really like W.A.S.P, but I just like don't prioritize the style. Most of what I get is like from cheap used bins and stuff like that, you know. And this album is something that just kind of really is a lot heavier than a lot of the genre. They definitely lean more towards the traditional metal style. I feel like this band has just as much in common with maybe like Manowar as they would Poison. Maybe even a little bit more. But it's heavier, it's deeper, it's a little more thought-provoking, but it's still got a lot of that 80s sleaze to it, a lot of that dirtbag friggin' hair metal style. Good stuff. Excuse me. Now I got two from Whitesnake, self-titled and Slip of the Tongue. It's Whitesnake, dude. David Coverdale's the man. Great vocals, really catchy, well put together stuff. I am a little wishy-washy on like when they get into like the piano slower stuff, but it's not my favorite style generally to have like slow sappy pianos in just about anything. But nonetheless, it's a decent enough pair of records, man. I do listen to quite a bit more Whitesnake than I would some of these other bands, just like Ratt and maybe Poison. And then I got two from Winger, which I was actually pretty surprised at how good they are, which is self-titled and In the Heart of the Young. So it's their first and their third record. I don't have their second record. I kind of haven't been able to find a copy, or else I would have already picked it up. But yeah, a little bit late to the game, 88 and 90. So they're pretty good records, man. Not the most amazing thing in the world, but they're fun, they're shreddy, and they're pretty catchy. But again, when I like want to hear this, I'm gonna go for the bands that I generally know that I like a lot, and I don't listen to this style constantly. I have to be in a mood for it maybe a couple times a year. So yeah, traditional, excuse me, like glam hair AOR stuff. That's gonna be everything for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, it's kind of the bottom end of my record collection, as you could see, or CD collection. You can see right there the space. All we have is this and then box sets. So there's 3 more installments after this, and those are going to be the last 3 that I film in this house before we get moving. And then after that, I'll see where we're at. I should be able to have sufficient coverage with all of this there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll catch you later. Keep it greasy.